what's the tea? No, really, what's the true tea, sis, on the Surviving R. Kelly documentary series? As we all know, Lifetime released a two-part documentary series on the victim surviving, well, R. Kelly. But what is confusing and yet even more appalling to me is how that this man, although he's been in jail, but how is he not convicted, charged, and in jail up to this day? So, if you want to know my 5 cents, or like we say in the Bahamas, my 2 cents on this topic, stay tuned. Hello, welcome back to my channel, My Thai. And this channel is just a series of my life. And unfortunately for me, like everybody else, my life was invaded by this documentary about R. Kelly. I am from the Bahamas, as stated earlier, and as a young person, we are very close. Well, let me just give you a little geographical lesson. The Bahamas, for a lot of you who don't know, yes, while it is in, or is considered a Caribbean country, it's actually very close to Florida. And a lot of times, like the infamous saying goes, if the USA sneeze, the Bahamas catch the cold. So we know all about R. Kelly. I remember it was like probably more than 10 years ago that the infamous sex tape of him relieving himself on 16-year-olds was released and he was arrested. But, you know, as a young person or a younger person, you're not really, fascinated. You hear it, but you're not like caught up in the moment of all those things. You just know of R. Kelly and his great musical genius and his skills. I can remember in primary school, one of our continuous graduation themes was I Believe I Can Fly. And he's always been an source of inspiration to a lot of our graduation ceremonies and even our recent 2017 election. Our current Prime Minister, his winning song was from one of R. Kelly's recent releases. I can't remember the name of it. I'll probably put it somewhere in the video. But I know it's "He stood on the front line, he led the way." That song. Anyway, point being, his music is iconic. Like, nobody could deny that. But what is so confusing to me is how has this been going on for so long? And he is not being convicted or charged. Well, he was arrested, but not convicted and charged up to this day of these heinous acts. And so I actually was following this story from his wife, Drea, from last year. I've been seeing her basically going from show to show, talking about her experience in her marriage with R. Kelly and his abuse and his verbal and physical abuse towards her. So I started to hear about it from last year. But what is so strange to me, because I used to watch Hollywood Wives, I think that's the name of the show that she was on. I used to watch that about 5 years back when it had Prince ex-wife and Eddie Murphy ex-wife on it. And she spoke about Robert, but she never really spoke in detail about the abuse. And I guess maybe because at that time she wasn't interested in using that platform for that. But I just find it so strange that all of a sudden everybody else is now speaking about it. If you have watched the two-part documentary series, kudos to you. I haven't. Honestly, I have not. I've watched portions of it, but it's very disheartening to me, first of all, to hear about my girl Aaliyah. I loved Aaliyah. My favorite song from her, it was from Timbaland's production. Well, he produced most of her like later songs, but I loved her. And to now hear about the exploits of him and her, and to know that he was allowed at 28, I think they said, to marry a 15-year-old, and it's just swept under the rug. It just brought on awareness to me of what Hollywood allows And as long as you're a celebrity, you can get a pass. I mean, now in this age of the Me Too movement, a lot of people are being exposed, and the untouchables are not touchable. But I just find it so strange that now that these women are coming out, and it makes me question what is the motive behind it. And outside of that, not to say that their stories are not true, because I really believe that they were victims to a certain degree. Any girl underneath the age, or boy underneath the age of 18 or 16, depends on whatever the country's legal arrangements are, is if they're not at the legal age of uh, you know what I'm trying to say. If they're not at the legal age to consent to sexual, it is wrong. Point blank, period. I don't care if they were paid. I don't care if they knew, and I don't care if they co-signed. It's illegal. But what I'm trying to figure out is why now, after all this time, like people like Sparkle and the other, I think it's about 4 or 5 victims, are coming out about it. So it's just a lesson to me that, I mean, everybody's story is different. A sexual abuse or abuse victim have a right to release their story whenever they are willing to do so. But I just kind of trying to figure out what were the roles of the parts of the parents. What did they play in it? How did they allow this to happen? Were they a part of this, knowing that their girls were sleeping with or molested by or abused by RKelly? And why are we so fascinated about money and celebrity and being famous, to the extent that we'll sell our soul and sometimes our children for it? And so I think that's the lesson here. Like, nobody's exempt from this behavior because they're a celebrity or because they have money. Parents, guard and guide your children. I am a mom to be, a new time mom to be, and first time mom to be, however you want to say it. And I can't even imagine co-signing on something like that. And so it's just strange to me. In my country, this just happens all over the world, with men from all kind of statuses, with money and without money. Okay, so in my country, it's often with bus drivers, and I think that's an epidemic with a lot of Caribbean or West Indian countries. Young girls are fascinated, and bus drivers, I should say, prey on young schoolgirls to have sex with them and maybe give them a little bit of lunch money. You know what I'm saying? And then too, because the country, I mean, our country's not poor, but we have a good amount of poverty in the country, and so any little amount of money is a lot to a lot of these teenage girls. And so for us, we face that epidemic in that sense. And a lot of times, they, of course, know these girls are underage. So I can understand how some girl could be fascinated that a celebrity like R. Kelly, as big as his name is, would be willing to go along with it. But I'm trying to figure out what was the parental aspect to it. And so it's just confused by it all. And I am disgusted by it all. And I really am waiting to see how the rest of this plays out. Because what's the point of releasing all of this information if at the end of the day nothing is done? I think about early last year, if he still have quote unquote victims hostage as the parents of, I'm going to get the girl's name of his recent, well, the parents call a victim, suggest that she can't speak or call them, as even stated by other victims. They weren't allowed to speak to other people and stuff like that, but they were saying that she can't even take a phone call from her mother. And it's just so strange to me that this is allowed to happen. So I'm going to insert clips of the documentary inside this video, but I just want to give my 5 cents on the whole situation, and hopefully, you can chime in and tell me what's your opinion on the topic. So Thanks again for viewing my channel. This hair, I did a hair review on this. I will include it in the video. And stay tuned to learn about me and my life, which includes pageantry, which includes being a mom, which includes and encompasses so many things. So continue watching. Thank you again.